Raju, Sip Parutiyama, Sip Ashok Chotwani, Sip Atmatray, Sip Ru Mataji, Sip Bridget, Sip Sudeep Bhargava, Sip Motkula Anand, but I don't know who is his guest on the, who is the guest of Motkula Anand, Sip Gautam, Sip Gaurish, Sip Samatma, and I don't see the others, but I welcome you all to the call. I am not able to see anybody else. Welcome, and we have another interesting session on a very interesting topic of that leads to enlightenment. And if some of you think the topic is not relevant, you will be surprised because the topic has a lot of meaning. Administrator, the topic for today. Who would like to start with questions? The topic is, what purpose does consciousness serve? In this journey of enlightenment, what is the purpose of consciousness? People don't even know the meaning of consciousness. People talk about, I am conscious, I am unconscious. People talk about this, but what is consciousness? And what is the purpose of consciousness? Who would like to start? Who would like to give me some input on consciousness?
Kaumudi, can I start?
Yes, Supreme.
Yes, so I think the part of consciousness is to show us the truth, the reality, the present of what we truly are, and then it leads to enlightenment.
So what is the purpose of consciousness?
To show us the truth.
How will consciousness show you the truth?
When you are conscious of what you are, it leads to enlightenment.
Okay. So what are you conscious about? What is your consciousness?
That I am an energy.
You're conscious. That's why you put your name as Supreme Immortal Power.
Absolutely.
And don't feel bad in my questioning you. My questioning you is not to, I'm trying to probe to help you to understand the subject better. So please don't feel bad.
Yes.
Let's get some more into the depth of it. What is the purpose of consciousness? Who's going next? The purpose of consciousness, yes? And
Hi, Shwam.
anybody would like to? Is it a tough question, Sudeep Bhargava? I thought it's not a very tough question. I thought it's a very interesting question. But Sudeep Bhargava, yes.
Shivam, sir.
Shivam, Sudeep.
It's not an easy question. I take that as a difficult question. But anyways, I have two understandings for consciousness. So maybe one of them could be wrong. One consciousness is in the medical terms when we say the awareness. So I am aware of what is happening around me. And like Kaumudi ma'am said, that can be taken a step forward, that we should not just be aware of what's happening around me. I should be aware of what the truth is. And the truth is that I am not the body, that I am the Atma. That is one part of consciousness. Other side of consciousness, and here I might be wrong, is what Upanishad call as the Brahman, which is the basic building block. So we can say that consciousness is all around us, and whatever we see in form of objects or people is just the manifestation of the same consciousness. So consciousness is like SIP, which manifest in the different forms and all animate and inanimate objects. That is my second understanding of consciousness, but I could be wrong here, so you please correct.
So I am asking you again. What
Yes.
you say is okay, fine, perfectly all right. The question is, what is the purpose of consciousness?
Yes, Guruji, Kumar Swami here.
One minute, Kumar Swami. Just let Sudeep finish. And then Kumar Swami next. Sudeep, what is the purpose of consciousness, Sudeep?
So one would be to become aware of the truth and not being carried away with what is happening around us. That
Okay,
is
good.
one awareness.
That is a clear purpose. That is also similar to what Kaumudi said.
Yes, same. But I'm just that is why I'm just doubting whether my second answer is correct or not.
Different words. What is the second answer?
Second answer is aware of what? aware of that consciousness is all around us. And it is just the same consciousness coming in different forms. Like the example you gave us of gold. So gold is appearing as a bangle, it is appearing as an earring, but it's all gold around us. When you go to a jewelry shop, there's nothing like an earring. We see earring and a bangle, but it's all gold. So what we see around us is also consciousness. And we need to be aware that everything is consciousness, that everything is Brahman. So I'm just doubting whether Brahman and consciousness is the same thing or not. That's my doubt.
Okay. Okay. So let us take the discussion forward. Kumar Swami, sir. Guruji, Kumar Swami, bolo.
Sir, actually, consciousness will give supply, energy, a supply to the body and mind to work. That is the main object of that. And but the consciousness is a Brahman, as we said. This is my answer, sir. Mainly, it is giving supply. It is giving energy. It is giving a supply to the body and mind to function. Main work,
See,
main purpose.
what you all are saying is correct. Nothing is wrong. I'm trying to get your focus. What is the purpose of consciousness in this journey of enlightenment? We are all here on this journey of enlightenment, correct? So if I ask you the question, what is the purpose of petrol in driving a car? So what is the purpose? Sudeep, what is the purpose of petrol?
It energizes energizes the car. So it is because of petrol that car is able to move forward or do.
Basically, yeah. So what you say is correct. If you ask me, petrol is fuel that gives power to the engine to make the engine move, the motors move, and the wheels, the car moves and takes us to our destination. So what happens to the and the rest? If there's no petrol in the car, then the car cannot move. There may be other things also needed for the car to move. You need wheels for the car to move. You need a steering wheel for the car to move. You need the accelerator for the car to move. You need many things. But if there is no petrol, if there's no fuel, when I'm driving in Finland, the first thing I do in Finland is to make sure the car has petrol. Because if I get stuck in the middle of the ice, in the middle of nowhere without petrol, I'm dead. I'm dead. What is consciousness? Is consciousness some kind of fuel? I'm trying to find a word for you. And I speak spontaneously from the words of the divine. And let me see, there are a lot of people who want to speak. Alka. Alka, what is consciousness what is the purpose of consciousness, Alka?
Gratitude to you, and whatever I have learned from you, that consciousness helps us in attaining enlightenment, and the purpose of consciousness is to find the purpose of our life and how it helps us in attaining enlightenment is it tells us that we are not the body, mind and ego. So this
Excellent.
way it can help us.
So what you say is fantastic. It's very good. But just tell me, for the sake of the audience, what exactly does consciousness do, Alka? What exactly, when you say consciousness helps us to realize we are not the body, mind, ego, what exactly does consciousness do?
It makes us aware.
It makes us aware. Yeah, you are right.
Why we are born on this earth.
Huh?
Why we are born in this earth.
Okay. So all of you are saying very good things. I'm just trying to put the whole thing together in such an easy way that from today onwards, you are very clear about what is the purpose of consciousness on the journey of enlightenment. Ashok Nichani. Thank you.
Shivoham.
Ashok Nichani.
Shivam Sarji.
Shivoham.
It guides us to take the right decision. What is right, what is true, what is false, what is right and what is wrong. It makes us, the purpose is to make our intellect work towards the right direction.
Perfect. You're saying something very profound. No, you're saying something very profound. So tell me, how does the intellect start working in consciousness? Do you know how does the intellect start working?
Intellect will To take the right decision, make us take the right decisions.
You said something very important, Ashok, just now. I don't know if you even know what you said. You said something very important. You said in the consciousness helps the intellect to take the right decision.
Right decision.
Do you know why and do you know how?
To reach enlightenment?
Correct. But how does it happen?
I have no idea about that.
Because Ashok, when you are in the state of consciousness,
Yes, Sirji.
the mind is dead.
Mind is dead. Okay.
And when the mind is dead, then what comes alive, Ashok?
The consciousness.
When the mind is dead, then the
Intellect
comes
works.
alive.
Alive.
So what you said was correct. You must understand how it works.
Okay.
In this consciousness, in our conscious, everybody who was given answers, please pay attention. In consciousness, when I say the mind is dead, actually technically mind is not dead, but the mind becomes the
Calm.
MTR, the mental thought rate. The monkey becomes a monk. In consciousness, when you are awareness, Alka and others, all of you said, and there's deep awareness, then the mind stops its monkey business. When the mind stops its monkey business, the intellect becomes active. The intellect is sharpened. And then you are able to make the right decisions that take you to enlightenment. Excellent. Samatma.
Shivoham, sir. Consciousness helps us.
Shivoham.
I mean, what is consciousness is living in this present moment. We are not in the past, not in the future. So we are living consciously in this moment.
Excellent. And then what happened? Perfect. What is that? Perfectly correct.
Because we are in this moment, we are the mind is not exactly shut off, but we are not going behind or future. I am just here. So my total focus is, or my intellect focus is on what is happening here.
Excellent. Beautiful answer. I like it. This is saying consciousness, the purpose of consciousness. Please try to absorb what we are trying to say. The purpose of consciousness, what Samatma says, is to be in the now. 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 When we are not jumping to a yesterday that is gone and a future not yet born, then we are in a state of consciousness. That means what is the state of consciousness, which everybody said? Sudeep, Kumar Swami, Supreme Kaumudi, everybody said, right? That we want to be in that state of awareness. But how? How? What is the purpose? Awareness is a very general word. Okay, I'm in awareness. Everybody can say I'm in awareness. But I'm in the present moment. I am in this moment. I am now. And then I'm in consciousness. The monkey becomes a monk. I am in that state of thoughtlessness. In that state of thoughtlessness, Ashok said something very profound. When there is no thoughts, when there is thoughtlessness, when there is mindfulness, the intellect comes alive. When the intellect comes alive, we are able to discriminate and live as the divine soul, not as body, mind, ego, as some of you have said that. So Sudeep, you want to add something? And then Pawan, you want to add something more, Sudeep?
So just one doubt that I had. When we say
Yeah.
that consciousness is all around us, can we say that consciousness and the sip is the same? And the part of consciousness inside me is the Atma? Can I say that way? Or
See, we can say many things, Sudeep, but what we need to realize is very clear. Sip in you and me is the soul. When that soul, yesterday we had a big discussion, right? Ru Mataji called me afterwards, Sudeep called me afterwards, Ru Mataji, whether the soul comes and goes or the soul is everywhere, it doesn't come and go. That's another thing we need to clarify if possible on this call. But when the soul gives birth, when the soul comes alive, becomes active energy, in that active energy, only we are capable of having consciousness. Don't confuse this spiritual consciousness with I am conscious. You're confusing the two issues. Please don't confuse the two issues. I am conscious. I am subconsciously working. I am unconscious. I am asleep. Has nothing to do with consciousness. Consciousness is that state of awakening, that state of awareness, that state of being in the present moment, that state of thoughtlessness, that state of mindfulness. When we are in that state, which we often call Chit, Sat, Chit, Anand. How can we be in that state of Sat, Chit, Anand? We can only be in the state of Sat, Chit, Anand when there is a Chit. Chit of what? Chit of Sat. When there is the Anand. So Sudeep, everybody who has a soul has consciousness. You don't deny that, right? Anybody who has a soul has consciousness. But are you saying everybody who has a soul is living in consciousness? No, people are not living in. This consciousness comes from awakening, from awareness, from enlightenment. And then we become aware. Like who told me just now? I think Kaumudi said, I am aware, I am not the body. I think she said some brief things. I become aware about certain things. Good. I think we are moving forward. I think this call is giving a lot of clarity, but I hope before the call ends, we will give some conclusion to it.
Guruji, may I say one point?
Yes.
Guruji, when we are conscious, we are face to reality, and at that time we realize that we have to die. Nothing belongs to us. And we come to realize that we should not collect anything for us and we should live with detached attachment.
So you are now reaching the end of the discussion. You have jumped forward now. So yes, you are right. When we are in the purpose of, what is the purpose of consciousness? The purpose of consciousness is to be conscious of the realization of the enlightenment of the truth, which is what you just said now. That is absolutely the right answer. The purpose of consciousness is to become conscious. कि क्या? कि मैं किरण कथुरिया नहीं हूं. I am not Kiran Kathuria. I am the Ruh. The moment you lose consciousness of that, then शुरू हो गया. क्या सब्जी बनाऊं, कौन सा पराठा बनाऊं, पराठा में आलू डालूं या पनीर डालूं या गोभी डालूं, क्या फर्क पड़ता है रूह माता जी, तुम आलू डालोगी या पनीर डालेगी या गोभी डालेगी, खाने के बाद तो कचड़े के डब्बा में जाने वाला है. No, but the moment we lose consciousness, life becomes irrelevant. We are just in bhoga. We are not in yoga. So let me come back in order. Rumataji, we are going to come back to your point. Pavan, you have anything to say about this subject?
Yeah, sir, I was waiting from long back. Leo, that thank you for this subject, sir. It's very good. Sir, I'll tell you what's in my head about consciousness. So I see consciousness, my knowledge about it is like, it's like a light, sir. It's like a light. Consciousness is like a light which you put on, it's like an awareness kind of thing. Suppose if I'm conscious that something is happening there or around me, I can react to it and like something like that, sir. If you can get my answer, I don't know. I'm not able to explain properly.
No. What is the purpose? We are discussing today. What is the purpose of consciousness? Do you know?
Okay.
Or you want to learn?
Sir, the purpose of consciousness, I have one answer, sir. So the purpose of consciousness is to help us reach wherever we want to reach, in whatever task, maybe, whatever. That's how I see it, sir. That's how it's in my head.
To help us? To help us what? To help us?
To help us reach whatever. Suppose if I'm conscious about riding a bike, that helps me to, you know, I know when to.
No. So you please, no, that is not the consciousness. So please pay attention. Maybe we'll pick up the answer today. Okay. So Girish, let us have a view of Girish and then Sakina. After Girish, we will go to Sakina and then Tanu. Yes, please.
When I am in a state of consciousness, I am not I.
Good. Very good.
This is the purpose behind our life, to realize that I am not I. That purpose is served by consciousness.
This is a major purpose of consciousness. But is it all, Girish? Is it the only purpose? Is that the only purpose of consciousness?
All appearances, all appearances and existence is given by consciousness only, because it is the only
If
truth.
if the beggar became aware that all the papers were notes which he was throwing away, is that enough? Is that consciousness enough, or there needs to be the next step?
I am not able to answer that.
Girish? Because one step is somebody came and told the beggar, hello, you are throwing all the notes. The dirty papers are notes. That is the first what you're saying, I am not I. And it is to realize I am not I. The second question of consciousness, then who am I? I am not I is the first step. Girish, you're absolutely right, Girish. And we continue, please don't stop the end of, please come back. I hope you're getting my point. Consciousness is to make me realize I am not I. And then to make me realize who am I? And then to make me realize why am I here? And then to make me, and then to take me to the final step of why I am here. Are you getting, Girish? Are you getting the point, Girish, what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So this the purpose of that is why we need to be in that state of consciousness all the time. And to be in the state of consciousness all the time, what must you be? Anybody? Anybody?
Pure consciousness.
To be in the state of consciousness all the time, what must we be?
We need to be aware. Sir.
Alert, alert, alert.
No,
You should use the intellect.
no,
We should be nobody. We should be nobody.
no, no.
We should be in yoga.
Silence.
We should be in yoga and not in boga.
You must
present.
You
in
must
present.
be a yogi. Pavan, you are right, but the word is wrong. You must
Yogi.
be a yogi.
Present moment.
No, you must be a yogi. You must be, if you want to be in consciousness, you must be a yogi.
Sir, I have an explanation.
योगी जो योग में सदा ही रहे, प्रभु के योग में रहे. That will help you to remain in that state of consciousness. If you are not a yogi, you will become a bhogi. If you're a bhogi, you will lose consciousness. Okay, so I would like to get on to Sakina. Sakina, your time, please.
Hello, sir. The topic
Yes,
is
Sakina.
about consciousness and what is the purpose of consciousness. So according to me, consciousness is awakening of mind, which helps an individual to understand its intellect and to develop the potentiality. Like, is there main potential and how to work on it and attain enlightenment? We have to understand the intellect, like what is my potential and how will I work on it is my present moment consciousness, that how should I work on a particular subject or a thing to attain enlightenment.
So what you're
according to
saying
me,
has what you're saying has many good things in what you're saying, but I think you're new to the call. So Sakina, the
Yeah.
point is, consciousness is about thoughtlessness. It has not to do with the mind, but to switch off the mind completely. Because the
Okay.
moment there is an active mind, just for your information, the moment there's an active mind, there is no consciousness.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we have to switch off the mind completely.
Okay.
In that state, when the mind is completely switched off, then the realizations crystallize into consciousness and enlightenment.
Okay.
So I hope you will absorb this before. I mean, I know that you're, I think, on the call for the first time today. Please absorb
Yeah.
and see whether it's making sense to you, because we are continuing with the questions. But if you have a further question, you can ask me. Tanu Chopra.
Shivoham Guruji.
Shivoham Tanu.
Guruji, I also want to change my name to Ru Tanu.
to Rutanu. Okay, so from today we call you Rutanu, and it's a beautiful name. So Rutanu means the Atma in Tanu. But remember this, changing the name is of no use until you become conscious of it. This is what we are talking today. Your mother has the consciousness that she is Ru Mataji. If I tell her Kiran, she says, no, don't tell Kiran, I'm not Kiran, tell me Ru Mataji, don't tell Kiran. Because she has become conscious. So Rutanu must become conscious. You must be in the consciousness that you are the Ruh. You are the divine soul. All right? Thank you, Tanu.
Shivoham,
Bliko,
Guruji.
Bharat, Shivoham. I think Atmatray also wants to speak. So Bliko and then Atmatray. Sorry, Atmatray, I didn't see your hand going up. Bliko and Atmatray.
Yeah. Shivoham, Guruji.
Shivoham, Bliko.
Yeah. Bharat living in consciousness. Now I'm getting the close to that answer by so
Lovely.
many inputs from others. And to me, it is to become free from Maya. Maya, in other words, we can say BMO, free from BMO, by constantly aware of our own true nature and aligned with it. That is the purpose of consciousness. Otherwise, you cannot free from this Maya, and you cannot get advantage of enlightenment.
So let me take the opportunity of going one step back, Bharat. And many of you, Bharat was not present on the call that day when I told you that Bharat has changed his name to Bliko. B-L-I-C. Actually, he changed his name to Liko. His name he changed to Liko, which is living in consciousness, which is today's subject. And then I asked him the question, but who's living in consciousness? So in 10 minutes, he came back to me and said, Bliko. I'm changing from Liko to Bliko. And lovely ability. So many people in this call have changed their names. And it is a matter of great achievement that we are doing it.
Thank you.
Bliko means Bliko, Bharat living in consciousness. And Bharat says, Bliko means that I should be able to live in consciousness such that I am able to transcend the Maya. Actually, it's a very beautiful answer, because the moment you're living in consciousness, you become aware that everything is Maya. You become aware that everything is Leela. Everything is a show. We are actors. We come and we go. Those who don't realize this, they live a life of anxiety. You know the meaning of anxiety? Anxiety can destroy our happiness. Anxiety. Wow. That one word, anxiety, can lead to depression, can lead to suicide. But
because it removes our peace of mind, right?
No, it destroys your peace of mind. It removes a very light word. It eliminates peace of mind, it destroys peace of mind, and Bharat, it not only destroys peace of mind and eliminates peace of mind, it fills your life with poison. It creates illusory fears. It creates illusory fears. It makes dangers appear, false dangers appear real. It creates worry. It creates stress. It creates imaginary situations. And the moment you become Bliko, you become Bharat living in consciousness. Ye leela hai maya, कुछ भी सच तो ना, नाटक ये प्रभु का है ये ख्वाब जैसा, जहां में होता जो वो माया है. So this is what is consciousness. When you live in that state of consciousness, you become conscious that you are sick. You become aware that you are not Bharat, you are Bliko. You are Bharat living in consciousness. And then everything else disappears. So thank you, Bharat. Komal. I see Komal's name coming. Tushar, and then Pawan also wants to speak, but first, Komal. Atmatray, sorry. Atmatray, sorry.
Okay. Never mind,
Atmatray,
sir.
first.
Yes.
No, first
Okay.
Atmatray, then Komal. Atmatray.
Yes.
Sorry, Komal. Atmatray.
Oh,
Sir,
okay.
Atmatray, sir, can you
Sir.
always please put the hand signal in your in Zoom? Then the hand will come. Then we will not forget you. There is something.
Okay,
What do
sir.
you call? How do you raise? Raise hand. There's one button there to raise hand. Then it will come. We will not miss you.
I have raised for some time. Then I lowered it.
I think I was not in consciousness. So I lost it because I was not. So yes, Bharat.
Yes.
Yes, Atmatray.
Okay. Sir, as per my understanding, purpose of consciousness is to know the world is a drama and realize the supreme immortal power is the truth. I think so.
Can I change few words, Atmatray, with your permission?
Yes, sir. Sure.
What you told, the purpose of consciousness is to know that this world is a drama, correct? You said like that. Not to know, Atmatray, not to know.
Okay.
The purpose of consciousness is to become aware, not to know. Not knowing, no, not to know. Everybody knows, Atmatray, everybody knows.
Okay.
The purpose of consciousness is to be in the awareness of the truth that everything is Maya, that nothing is real, that Jagat Mithya Prabhu Satya, that I am Sip, that I am not the body, that I will come with nothing and go with nothing. It is that awareness. The purpose of consciousness is to have that, how they started the call. But we didn't go into detail. The purpose of consciousness is living with the awareness. Liko, Bharat, living in consciousness. Bliko. So purpose of consciousness is living in that state of consciousness of Sat Chit Anand, enjoying eternal bliss.
Sure.
Atmatray, are you agreeing, Atmatray? Any difference of opinion?
No, sir. Same.
Okay, are we okay? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Komal, Tushar, and then Pawan. Yes.
So purpose of consciousness is to be in thoughtlessness. But even if the mind brings you any thought, you must allow it to go swim like a fish in the ocean and come back to your consciousness.
You have become the master of today's talk. You are telling better than how I tell. Your consciousness is better. Your consciousness is better than my consciousness.
I've realized that now.
So excellently said, beautifully said. The purpose of consciousness is to reach that state of thoughtlessness. So please pay attention how nicely Komal said. The purpose of consciousness is to remain in that state of thoughtlessness. And when that thought comes, then that consciousness should be like an ocean in which that thought comes like a fish and swims through the consciousness and goes without disturbing that state of consciousness.
Yes.
Excellent. So I hope you are able to do that. It's fantastic. Thank you, Tushar Modi.
Thank you, sir.
Shivam, sir. Sir, I have a question, sir. Sir, when we talk about 4 ashrams, sir, the stages, is there any difference between the brahmachari, sannyasi, or what we say, or which path is the easy and the best path for the getting enlightenment, sir?
No, you're talking about the four ashrams you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
So what are the 4 ashrams?
Brahmacharya, Grahasthi, and Vanasprata and Sannyasi.
So these all 4 ashramas are the 4 stages of life. There's a new book I've written. It's called The Four Quarters of Life. The first quarter of brahmacharya is learning. The second quarter of grahastha is earning. The third quarter of vanaprastha is renouncing. And the fourth quarter of sannyas is enlightenment and liberation. So what is your question, Tushar?
Sir, enlightenment and liberation can only be attained in the last stage, which is sannyasa, sir.
No, liberation can be attained even in brahmacharya.
Yeah, sir, that's my question, sir. So
If you are
we
in,
should go through all these 4 stages, so we can attain. It is
no,
necessary.
you're getting confused. Wait, let me explain to you, please. Let me explain to you. The 4 stages of life are the 4 quarters of life. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
In age,
Yes.
there's an age of 0. From age 0 to 25 is learning. Clear?
Yes, sir. Student.
25 to 50 is earning. Clear?
Sir.
In the
Yes.
modern world, it is only earning, learning, and going. In the modern world.
Yes, sir.
In the ancient world, it was brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. Now, are you clear? These were the 4 stages of life.
Yes, sir.
What in these 4 stages of life we were supposed to learn the 4 purushartha. 4 purushartha means the 4 purpose of human life. The 4 purushartha used to be dharma, artha, kama, moksha. In these 4 stages, the first stage was to learn dharma. The second stage was to earn artha. Then we go through kama and ultimately attain the goal of moksha. Now, these 4 are, there are 2 ladders which are parallelly running together. Now, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Your answer is, do you have to wait for sannyas to become enlightenment? No. You can attain enlightenment when you are 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. It depends on you.
Okay, sir.
Tushar,
Sir, and yes,
clear?
sir, about sir, and the purpose of consciousness, I think it is for resting the monkey mind and converting the monkey mind into the monk, sir. As the all of them.
When the monkey mind becomes a monk, then only we reach that state of consciousness. When we reach that state of consciousness, then we move forward towards enlightenment. Because we become conscious of Sat, Chit, then only there is Anand, then only there is Nirvana. Okay. Pawan, do you want to say something? Pawan, thank you, Tushar. Pawan, you want to say something?
Yeah, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think when you're explaining to, I don't know, some lady or some girl, I don't know, you told what is consciousness, you told being heartless. Like, did you tell that or did I hear it wrong? Being heartless.
Heartless.
Yeah.
No, I didn't tell heartless.
Okay. My bad.
Okay. Thank you. Rekha Parwani. Rekha Parwani is asking the question before we close. Some days back, you said even an enlightened person is troubled by the mind, but consciousness brings us back immediately to the realization of SIP. Yes, Rekha, you're absolutely right. Even an enlightened person still has a mind, still has senses, still has an ego. And therefore, an enlightened person can be disturbed by senses of the mind, of the body, wandering of the mind, thoughts of the mind, and the ego. But when that disturbs us, Rekha, when we return to that state of consciousness, immediately we are back to the state of yoga.
Yes.
What happens? What do the senses and the mind and the ego? What do they do? They disconnect our yoga and they take us into bhoga.
So consciousness.
And if we return to consciousness, we go back into yoga.
Brings
so, my dear,
us back.
Are you clear?
Yes, I feel consciousness is like food for spirituality, like how you said a car needs fuel.
Consciousness is absolutely essential. Yes, it is even more than fuel, because in the if there is no fuel, Rekha, if there's no fuel, you can even, at least you can push the car and make it move.
We'll be dead.
No, you can push the car. You can push the car and make it move.
Yes.
But without
But in
consciousness, without consciousness, you cannot push the person towards. You cannot push the person to enlighten. Thank you.
Person is dead.
Without consciousness, not possible. My administrator is telling me shoo, shoo, shoo. So with that, I hold my hands and thank you. To see you tomorrow back at 8 o'clock. Thank you.